What is up, everybody? Mike Virginia here with the Palazzo Podcast. 2 L's, 2 Z's. Welcome to the fabulous Faab-Ulous Waiver Wire Sunday show. I am your host, Mike Virginia. No guest with me today, but I am here to take your questions. If you have fantasy baseball questions for the week ahead, let me know. Here to talk about all things fantasy baseball, not just here for the waiver wire, or we could talk trades, we could talk dynasty, we could talk literally whatever you want. So if you have questions, drop them in the live chat. Happy to answer them. This week's been kind of crazy, obviously, with all the news to Shane Bieber, Spencer Strider, Eloy Jimenez, which nobody's really surprised about. Luis Robert can make the case for the same thing there as well. So it's been a kind of a hectic week. Trevor Story with the shoulder, can't forget about him. So it's been kind of a crazy week for fantasy baseball in terms of injuries. But there should be plenty of people out on the waiver wire that can help you. We're already jumping into our first question here. Carl Otis, what's up, my man? He asks, thoughts on Aaron Ashby? Yeah, I saw the other day that he got called up. I don't know how long he'll stick around in the rotation. Maybe they're getting tired of DL Hall. Maybe they're running out of patience with him, or they move him back to a reliever spot. But he's got some K potential. I'm not looking to add in but the deepest of leagues, though. So kind of a wait and see kind of thing. So and it really depends on who you're dropping as well, and obviously how many teams are in your league as well. So for me personally, it's a wait and see thing, but I'm interested. He's got some K potential there. Appreciate the question there, Carl. Next question here from Nick Hall. He says, is it time to give up on Vinny P? First of all, love your profile icon there with Mr. Bo himself. He asks, is it time to give up on Vinny Pasquantino? Me personally, I'm not giving up on him yet. He's just too good to give up on a week into the season. If you remember correctly, this time last year, everyone was hyping Vinny, and then he got hurt. So I still think he's trying to figure it out. He's obviously been off real baseball for over a year now. So I do think it's going to take some time to get back into the swing of things. No pun intended. They have faith in him. They keep hitting him in the 3-hole. So and the Royals are going to be a lot better than people think. I know they got some things they need to iron out, but the division's up for grabs. I still like Cleveland to win that, but yeah, I'm going to remain patient with Vinny P at least through the end of the month, if not longer, and hopefully that he turns around. But Nick, as you know, I've always said on this show as well, it really depends on who you're dropping and who you're looking to acquire. If you play in a shallow format and there's somebody out there that's available that can help you out and win now, maybe we pull the trigger there. But I wouldn't be looking to flat out drop Vinny P. Maybe throw a couple offers out and see what you can get for him. But I'm going to remain patient, noting that we're only about a little over a week into the season now. So give him some time. There's plenty of hitters, all-star caliber players that also aren't hitting as well. So some guys start quick, some guys start slower. But patience is key here. This is how you win your leagues. Most guys drop. If you hold and they play well, great. But as I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it also depends on who else is out there on your waiver wire. Fantasy Sports, what's up, man? Love your team name. He said, how would you rank these starting pitchers in redraft? Nick Lodolo, Carlos Rodon, Jack Flaherty, and Jared Jones. Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going to go Carlos Rodon, number 1. I'm going to go Jack Flaherty, number 2, Jared Jones, number 3, and Nick Lodolo, number 4. I just like those guys a little bit better. I like Nick Lodolo, but I still need to wait and see. I need to see it from him first before. Sorry, I'm looking for my drink before I'm ready to pull the trigger. So, on adding him. Plus, I don't like the ballpark in Cincinnati either. So, yeah, I'd go Rodon, Flaherty, Jared Jones, Lodolo. Appreciate the question there. And another question coming in from Fantasy Sports. How would you rank these players in a head-to-head points league? CES, Hoskins, Brian Hayes, and Michael Garcia. Ooh, all really good players. I'd say the highest ceiling here is CES for sure. I know he hasn't been off to a solid start yet. He's actually been probably in the same bucket as Vinny Pasquantino, if not slightly better. So I'd say the highest ceiling is definitely CES. So I'd rank them this way. I'd go CES, Michael Garcia, Brian Hayes, Rhys Hoskins. Those would be how I would rank them. All right, keep the questions coming here, guys. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're following us on Twitter/X. I'm at _ Mike Virginia. Well, it's really _ Mike VA. And then also make sure you're following us. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube, the Palazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. I'm going to be doing these shows every Sunday. If you guys haven't picked up on it right now, I'm dealing with a little bit of a head cold and a little bit of a stomach bug here, but I am showing up for you guys. So, yeah. So if you haven't done so, make sure you're following us. Make sure you subscribe, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Always happy to help. If you have questions, hit me up here or hit me up on Twitter. BZARZAGZA asks, are you buying a Detmers breakout finally? Oh, I'm so glad you brought this up. Actually, I'm going to leave that question up on there. Yeah, I think he needs to be added at this point. I still think he's every year he does this, right? I mean, every year we see the high K games where he gives us 10 or 12 strikeouts and then has these really, really bad blow up starts. But at this point, with the state of starting pitching the way it is, I know we just lost a bunch of guys. I think Reid Detmers is probably at the top of my ads for starting pitching this week if he's not already owned in your league. Had a 12K performance last night, which was great. Obviously, the Angels are not a very good team. Probably going to be the bottom 5 in baseball. But yeah, Reid Detmers probably needs to be owned at this point, given the state of starting pitching. So am I buying the breakout? No. I would need to see at least through 3 or 4 more starts before I'm ready to call him a breakout candidate. I don't think what you saw last night is going to be the norm with him. That probably will be his best game of the year for him. So I'm over Reid Detmers. He does this to us every year. Remember last year, I think it was last year, the year before, he had a phenomenal spring training. Everyone's talking about his spin rates, his fastball. He's plus everywhere. This guy's going to be a stud. And everyone was dropping him within a month and a half or so. So this is what he does. No, I'm not buying the breakout yet, but I hope I'm wrong. And I am going to be putting in some bids for him tonight in hopes that I get him. And we'll see. But yeah, I'm not buying the breakout yet until I see 3 or 4 more starts at least of solid production from him. EA all day 8. What's up, Mike? Thanks for the content you put out. Hey, appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. For a 2-start stream next week, do you like Olsen, Paxton, or Ronaldo Lopez? Man, I actually haven't done my homework yet in terms of who these guys are facing, so that would help. I actually have no clue who any of these guys are facing, but off the top of my head, I probably like Reese Olsen here the best. Actually, in the order that you have them, Olsen, Paxton, and Ronaldo Lopez is how I would rank them, just in terms of just starting pitching. But EA all day, if you have if they have the starts up for them, I'd be happy to offer more insight in terms of who they're facing. But off the top of my head, it's definitely Reese Olsen, number 1. So keep the questions coming, guys. Happy to help out. Obviously, got a lot of movement. This is going to be our first big waiver wire Sunday that we have. So there's going to be plenty of guys floating around in there. A lot of movement. Make sure you guys pay attention tomorrow for who guys are dropping. Somebody brought up a good question in terms of, is it time to move on from Vinny P? No, but some guys and some owners might be impatient and drop players who are off to slow starts. So make sure you're paying attention to your waiver wire tomorrow. Make sure you pay attention to who was dropped and who was added, and go from there. A couple of hitters that I like this week that are less than 65% owned in Yahoo leagues. If you guys checked out our YouTube video, you saw that I was a big proponent on adding MJ Melendez before the start of the season. He was a great spring training hitter, batted really well, still hitting really well, hitting over 300. He's off to a rock solid start with Kansas City. He's going to be hitting anywhere between that 4 and 5 hole, and he qualifies a catcher in outfield. So with the way catchers are going right now, you can certainly do a lot worse than MJ Melendez, but I definitely think he should be owned at this point. My second hitter here is Taylor Ward of the Los Angeles Angels. Just got finished saying Angels are not going to be a very good team, but Taylor Ward is off to a solid start as well, especially with the state of outfielders. I think he definitely needs to be owned as well. And then lastly, Ryan McMahon, rock solid bat at second base and third base, hit a grand slam the other day. Playing in Colorado, obviously that's enticing, but same thing. He's going to be hitting the middle of the lineups. You certainly do a lot worse if you lost Royce Lewis as a solid backup plan until he gets back. He recently just had a PRP injection for his quadriceps, so hopefully he's back soon. But I definitely like Ryan McMahon with the dual position eligibility there, and I also like him as a waiver wire ad in hopes that he can keep it rolling. I see some questions coming in here. I'm going to answer them here in a second. I do want to go over my 3 starting pitchers to add this week. Number 1 here should be Tanner Houck of the Boston Red Sox. I believe he's pitching today, if I'm not mistaken. But coming off a 10K performance, Boston's rotation actually looks really good. And they're actually playing very, very well. So I actually like a lot of those guys between Garrett Whitlock. I know he had 4 walks yesterday and only 4 Ks, but against a really beatable Angels team. But looked well. Didn't give up any runs, which is nice, but control was a little bit of an issue for him yesterday. So I like Garrett Whitlock. I like Tanner Houck. Ryan Bello is somebody that Brian Bello, excuse me, somebody who's enticing as well. I know he's not off to as a solid start as the rest of the guys, but definitely somebody I would keep an eye on and having some patience with as well. So and look at the other guys here that I put down. We already talked about it. Reid Detmers is number 2 for me based off of the performance that he gave yesterday. If you lost Shane Bieber like I did, Reid Detmers would be a solid piece to add to your rotation, just simply because of the strikeouts are going to be there. You know, you're probably going to get that at least as a floor. But be careful and be ready to cut ties quick, because Reid Detmers has shown this in the past and has always let us down a little bit. Third here is Brady Singer, one of Govier's guys. If you guys have watched our previous shows, Michael Govier was big on Brady Singer, as am I now. So he's up 2 solid starts in a row now. Kansas, like I said, Kansas City is going to be better than people think. And he's going to have those games where he gives us anywhere between 10 and 12 Ks. He's going to have his blow-up starts. I don't think he's a rock-solid SP1 sitting on your waiver wire right now, but he's definitely somebody you can add if you miss out on Houck or Detmers. Go get Brady Singer. I could actually even make an argument that he deserves to be number 1 on this list. So EA all day, going back to his previous question, he wanted me to rank Reese Olson, James Paxton, and Ronaldo Lopez for their 2-start weeks. Olson gets Pittsburgh, Minnesota. Paxton gets Minnesota and San Diego. Lopez gets the Mets and Miami. All really, really good starts here, but my original thinking was correct. I'm still going Olson number 1, Paxton number 2, and Lopez number 3. I like Lopez. I just don't know how long they're going to let him go into games. And the Mets and 2 division games too. It's going to be tough. But yeah, I think I like him that way. Olson, Paxton, and Lopez, I think is how I'd rank him there. EA all day. I appreciate it. He says, I picked up MJ last night and cut Victor Scott. Scott can't hit 95%. Sure, he'll be sent down. It's not 95% there, EA all day. He'll be sent down 100%. I actually made this argument when the season started is the guy has great speed, but he's going to have to come out of the gate hitting, and he has not done that. So when Newpark comes back, which should be soon, I expect him to be sent down. But the future is bright for him. If you're playing dynasty formats, obviously a hold there can single-handedly win you your stolen bases every week. But yeah, I think that's a great move, EA all day. Let me know who your catcher is too. I'd be interested to know who that is. Fantasy Sports. I love your name, by the way. Please rank in a head-to-head points. India, Jeff McNeil, Tyro Estrada, Polanco, Bryce Strang, and Julian. Good Lord. That is a lot of people there. Let's see. Give me Tyro Estrada number 1. I know he's not off to the best of starts, but give me him number 1. India number 2, McNeil number 3. No, sorry, Polanco number 3, McNeil 4, Trang 5, Julian 6. Julian's just not getting playing time right now, and he sits too much. So that's how I'd rank them in fantasy sports. How would you rank the Boston starting pitchers? Good question. I'd probably go. I think Houck gives you a little bit better of a strikeout upside, so I go Houck, Whitlock, and Bello. That's how I'd rank them. Ward or Gurriel? Oh, good question. I'm actually having this dilemma between myself as well, because waivers are tomorrow and both these guys are available on my waiver wire. Somebody dropped Gurriel, even though he's like 80% owned, which is crazy to me. I'm probably going Gurriel here just because I like his spot in the lineup. About in 3, better team. But I don't think you can really go. I don't think you can miss either way. I would rank them Gurriel 1A and Ward 1B. I can make the argument for either one of those guys, but give me Gurriel number 1 and Ward number 2 there. EA all day. My catcher is Yanier Diaz, who's been great for me. MJ only has outfield eligibility in my ESPN league. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Obviously, Yainer Diaz is obviously one of the better catchers in fantasy right now. So MJ being in your outfield is obviously great. My number 2 recommendation for you is, please, for the love of God, I will literally Venmo you money. Stop playing on ESPN. Go play any other format. I'll leave it at that. I just think it's a bad format all around for any fantasy sport, not just baseball. Let's see. Ramon Melendez dropped Terang for Estuary Flyer. Oh, dropped Terang for an Estuary Flyer. Sorry, I'm not understanding your question there, Ramon. Estuary Ruiz is not in the majors anymore. He's actually optioned back to AAA. So are you asking if you should drop Terang for him? Or are you saying drop Estuary for Terang? Let me know. Let's see. Fantasy sports, another question here. Campusano or Wilson Contreras? Campusano for me. Wilson Contreras is dealing with some type of hand issue right now. Believe he's out of the lineup again tonight or today. So keep that in mind. But I like Campusano there. I know every catcher is going to have their days when they get days off. So if you find somebody like MJ Melendez, who is a catcher and outfield in Yahoo leagues, that you can plug in, he's going to get regular playing time. That's a perk in my book already as is. Same thing with Yainer Diaz. I believe he has first base in Yahoo eligibility there. But yeah, give me Campusano there over Wilson Contreras. Hand injuries are so hard to come back from too, and I just don't like the Cardinals. So in terms of just the overall team context, and Campusano has been on fire. So good lineup, good team there. Give me Campusano and hopes that Wilson Contreras' hand gets better. Yeah, all day. Thoughts on Alex Lang trying to get save hold today? And I know he's in the committee, but it picked up a save on Friday, and it's Oakland. Yeah, Oakland's been playing him pretty tough. The Tigers, that is. I don't think he's the guy to add for saves. I think Michael and Sam talked about it on Friday's show. I know he got the random save the other day, but Jason Foley is the guy there, and he was used in a high leverage spot, and Lang just happened to be the default guy in the 9th. So I do think that he has a possibility of getting a save or a hold today for sure. But it also depends who your other options are as well. So, yeah, that's how it answer that one. Fantasy sports. What are your expectations on Verlander and Gavin Williams? Both in my IL spot currently. Gavin Williams, for me, I believe he threw a bullpen on Sunday, but there's no timetable for his return quite yet. It sounds like he's ramping up, which is great. Verlander is coming back obviously off the shoulder injury there. And he's obviously a little bit long in the tooth. I definitely think both should be owned. Both Verlander and Gavin Williams should be back this month, if I had to guess. Definitely Gavin Williams. I haven't really heard much status on Justin Verlander yet. But yeah, I think both are definitely guys that need to be rostered. I definitely think that you should be keeping them on your IL right now because both could be high impact arms. With everything that's gone on with the Tommy John surgeries recently with Shane Bieber and soon to be Spencer Strider, for those of you guys who are holding that hope, he's getting Tommy John. His season's done. I think Gavin Williams scares me a little bit in terms of his elbow injury. I know he was working with a weighted ball in the offseason, which is what alluded to his elbow injury. But still, I hope that he's past that. Hopefully he feels better. And I'm not even going to mention the name here, but I'm sure you guys could pick up my drift here, what I'm mentioning with Gavin Williams. I love him. He's my number 1 SP target in all my drafts. But I'm a little worried with him as well. So, but I fully expect both of them to, if they're healthy, come back and pitch well. Obviously, I like both of them as SP holds for sure. So, do you think time clock is a factor in SP injuries? Good question. Yes and no. I think it's very easy for people to point the finger at something to say, hey, this is the reason why all these guys are getting hurt. I know Tyler Glass now was talking about the baseball and the grip with sticky stuff, and he liked to use suntan lotion and rosin. Otherwise, he felt like he was throwing a dusty ball. And he attributed to his injury when he was with Tampa when they banned the sticky stuff. He's like, I don't need spin rates and any of that stuff. I got big hands. I've never had any problem with that. Honestly, I think it was James Andrews who mentioned it as well, that, a lot of guys now with the way that training has gone in terms of just building guys up, and there's kids in high school that are throwing the 90s now, and the ligament is just not meant to withstand, according to him, meant to withstand that type of torque or that type of power. And I know of everything we've talked about in terms of like the flat arm. I think it was a video that got released yesterday about Spencer Strider. I can't remember the name, but I heard an interesting podcast. The guy who was working with Adam Wainwright and actually kind of retooled him after he's had some injuries and was able to prolong his career. I think he needs to resurface here and show everybody what's his secret here, right? John Smoltz said the other day too that all these guys are looking to gas out 100 miles per hour every single time they throw a fastball. And Smoltz said the other day, we used to throw that handful of times. We knew we could get there, but we never threw that hard on a consistent basis. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into play here. Me personally, I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. Anytime you throw that hard, and it's kind of deflating in a way too, because you look at guys like Paul Skeens who are coming up, he throws 100. It's almost like, hey, like when's his turn? Like he's soon to have it, right? It kind of sucks. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into that, and pitch clock I think is probably a very small one. I don't know how much time or recovery that you get from a couple seconds here and there. I think it really has to do with just the nature of the business. That's just how it is. If you throw that hard, expect to have injuries come up. It's just a tough thing. So it sucks for fantasy. But I made a tweet the other day too. For the love of God, please stop drafting starting pitchers in the first 1 or 2 picks. Since I've been playing fantasy baseball, I've been playing for well over 20 years. I have never, ever, 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 ever drafted a starting pitcher in the first 24 picks ever in standard 12 teams. I don't care what format it is either. We look, oh, Mike, what about point? No, I don't care. Don't care. For a guy who pitches once every 5 days, and the juice ain't worth the squeeze for me for a guy who could potentially get hurt and out for your entire season. Ask guys who own Garrett Cole or Spencer Strider, Yuri Perez, Shane Bieber, right? I think after this year, you will start to notice that people are going to stop drafting them in the first 24 picks or in their first or second round pick. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. And I also said this last year on this show as well. I think you'll see a lot more teams implementing 6-man rotations moving forward. The Dodgers are already pretty much doing it, but I think you'll see a lot more teams doing it to preserve some of these guys in their arms and rotations and stuff. Somebody asked me that question earlier in terms of what do I think the attributing factor is for all these guys getting hurt. Give them more rest. That'd probably be a simple solution right off the bat, off the top of my head at least. Throw a 6-man in there. Do 6-man rotations. Give these guys more time to recover. Prolong them more throughout the season. That's just me. All right. I don't think I can ever spend a high round to SP anymore. Got to go mid, low round and try to find those breakouts. Yeah, agreed. EA all day. I think it's much easier to find a starting pitcher on the waiver wire as opposed to hitters. So I always go hitter. Those are my first 3 picks, always, most of the time, at least. Sometimes I'll draft like a starting pitcher, depends on who's there. But my first 2 picks have never been starting pitcher. Too risky drafting pitchers in the first 2 or 3 rounds, it feels. Yeah, way too risky. Well said. Fantasy sports, better prospect. Gavin Williams last year coming up or Skeens? Oh, 100% Skeens. It's not close. Paul Skeens is a generational talent. I think he's better than Steven Strasburg. I know he's gotten a lot of comparisons to that. But I made a tweet on this the other day too, is, they were pitching him down in the minors. Why in the hell why is he not up? He was ready to go the minute they drafted him. The Pirates in that division is not necessarily like a clear run favorite. I think they should be bringing him up relatively soon. I would think no later than May. But why are we wasting bullets in the minors? He's overpowering everybody. He's been ready since day one, since the day they drafted him. So get him up. He says Skeens. Yeah, he's the most hyped pitching prospect since Strasburg. Yeah, I think he's better than Strasburg. A lot better. My idea, any pitch thrown over 95 is an auto ball. That'll be tough. I don't think that'll ever happen. See, where would you rank Zach Littell along Houck and Detmers? 3rd? Yes, he would be 3rd in my book. I just think he limits you in terms of strikeouts. Plays on a good team. I had Zach Littell. If you guys watched our pre-draft shows, I had Zach Littell as one of the guys I was drafting after pick 300. And so far so good with him. I just think he doesn't give you much in terms of the strikeouts there. So, and I like Houck and Detmers there in terms of the Ks a lot better than I do Zach Littell. So, all right, next one here. Mike, what's up, man? He says, I just added Skeens in that 12-team roto league, $4 bid on a $124 budget, $25 budget. Okay, cool. You got him for $4. That's crazy. Yeah, he should be up. I would hope by May, if not early June. Also, really appreciate the work you're putting out on X. Oh man, appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I really, really appreciate it. Sometimes I even wonder. I'm like, hey, does anybody actually even read my shit? I got over 2.3K followers, and I only get a couple likes on me here and there. But it's nice to hear that people appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I try, and the big thing with it is too is I don't get paid for any of this stuff. Like you guys see this Palazzo podcast banner up here. GoVA doesn't pay me or anything. It's one of those things too, where we all are on this show because we love talking fantasy baseball. We truly, truly enjoy what we do. And we love helping people out, obviously with their own teams. But it helps us to kind of reconfirm the stuff that we're doing for our own teams. So I put out content simply because I love doing it and I love baseball. I played baseball growing up my whole life. And it's something where I wish I could have made it a career. Obviously, it just wasn't good enough. But fantasy baseball has always been a passion of mine. Baseball has always been a passion of mine. So I really, really appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you so much. Fantasy sports, Hauk or Lodolo? Hauk. Yeah. Can you share your X handle? Yeah, man. It's right here in the yellow bubble, right there at _Mike VA. You'll find me. Appreciate the follow, but thank you. And make sure you guys are subscribing to, let me get my finger right. I know it's always backwards here. God, I can't figure it out. Right there. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel here for the Palazzo podcast. We're trying to get to 1,000 followers by the year's end. I think we're a little over 700 now, so we're making some progress, but it really, really helps us out if you guys could like and subscribe. But then also, if you're interested, leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. All right. Anybody else got any questions? Drop them in the live chat. Happy to help out. I'm going to be doing these shows every Sunday because I'm a little bit under the weather. I wasn't necessarily 100% prep for today, but I'm going to be sharing some things in terms of what you guys can expect on these shows. I'm going to be sharing the schedule, my favorite 2-start pitcher streams for the following week. So starting on Monday, the top 5 friendliest hitter matchups, the top 5 hardest hitter matchups, which I'll share tomorrow on X if you guys follow me. You guys will obviously see some more content on that, but I'm going to share it on this show as well. So, just again, wasn't really 100% today in terms of just the stomach bug that I'm battling right now. So, but I promise you guys this show will be only amplified. We'll have some guests on here to talk about some more stuff as well. Mike, EA All Day says, Mike, I know you're a big O's guy. Which of the AAA studs besides Holiday do you think will have the most fantasy impact this year? It's a good question, man. If you had asked me prior going into this season, I would 100% Kobe Mayo. And I do still think that's probably going to be my answer. A lot of people are very big on Heston Kjerstad simply because he's just been raking the shit out of the ball. The AAA team, the Norfolk Tides, could probably beat the Athletics, the Rockies, a couple other teams maybe. But yeah, I'd probably say Kjerstad is probably the guy that would probably have the most fantasy impact. There's just not enough spots for him or a spot for him in the current roster construction right now. It sucks too. It's a good problem to have. I wouldn't say it sucks. It's a good problem to have because, between Cowser, Holiday, Kjerstad, Basallo, who's not even up yet, Kjerstad, Stowers, Connor Norby. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'm a big Connor Norby fan. We have a plethora of riches, and I would like to see them either trade some of these guys or one or two. Jordan Westberg's another guy I forgot. Trade them to get a starting pitcher would be awesome, but just not enough positions for these guys to play. I think our middle infield is going to be Gunnar and Jackson Holiday for the foreseeable future. And I think third base is probably Kobe Mayo's. So I think after this year, once some guys probably get out of there, I would like to see us get rid of Urias, Mateo, Austin Hayes. I think Ryan Mountcastle's time at Baltimore is probably done. He's probably going to want too much money, and we got some guys that could fill his spot, no problem. So I think once all those guys are up, you'll start seeing these plethora of prospect come up. EA All Day said the Tides would take 2 out of 3 against my Nats. Oh, are you a Nats fan? That's cool, man. They got a bright future coming up too. I know it's tough times right now, but they got some studs in the minors as well. What prospect do you keep Which pitching prospect to keep an eye on for other than Skeens? Jackson Jobe for Detroit. I don't know when we'll see him, but it was funny because in spring training we were going back and forth between who the best pitching prospect in baseball was, Paul Skeens or Jackson Jobe, and I think it's Paul Skeens, guys. I don't think it's particularly close either. But Jackson Jobe might be up, but Detroit's got a deep rotation as well, so. I don't know when we'll see him, but I think he's the next guy to keep an eye out for sure. So, sorry. EALD, yeah, lived in DC for the last 5 years and just moved out to Cali. Cool. Excellent, man. Hope Cali's treating you well. I hope the Nats are still your team, but they should have a bright future here in the next 2 or 3 years in their rebuild. So, all right. What are the questions you guys got for me? Anybody that we're looking to maybe drop? Any guys that you're looking to add? A couple of guys I wanted to talk about really quick that should already be owned. Michael Conforto of the San Francisco Giants. He's a little bit over the 65% threshold in Yahoo leagues. I think he just cracked that the other day. He should be owned. So if he's out there, though, I would go get him. Do I expect him to keep this this pace up? No, I don't. But he needs to be owned in terms of just because he's probably the hottest hitter in baseball right now. So let's see here. Got some more questions here. Sound Money. Ayo, what's up, man? Mike D, start sit question for the day. Context, 12-team roto. I'm second in whip, fourth in ERA. Oh, I believe you hit me up on Twitter on this. Presley blew up and rocked me. Okay. Start sit. Imanaga, Pepio, Blanco for today. Let me pull up who they're facing. For those of you guys asking questions, I know it sucks, and it's probably makes it a lengthier question, but I don't know who these guys are facing off the top of my head. I wish I knew the schedule like that, but I don't. Once I get into the swing of things with baseball already after the first week, I could tell them, look, no problem. But Imanaga gets the Dodgers today at home. Looks like Pepio gets the Rockies, and Blanco gets, I believe, the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. But they do. I'm not going Blanco today, especially if you need to make up for Presley's blow up. I'm probably going Pepio just because he has the best matchup today against the Rockies, but they are in cores. So Imanaga against the Dodgers is going to be a tough matchup, obviously, just because of the lineup. So if you're looking to play it safe, I'd go Pepio. If you're looking for more of the strikeout upside, give me Imanaga. But I know Blanco had the no hitter. He's not no hitting the Rangers though today, so I can promise you that. I hope that answers your question, Mike. I'm going Pepio there. EA all day. I know we're not dropping Vinny P, but any first base I should add as a backup plan. Mountcastle, Walsh, Rizzo, Drury. Mountcastle. Don't like Walsh. I'd go Rizzo probably second to that list, but definitely Mountcastle. And I'm not being a homer. Mountcastle definitely gives us the power there. Decent average. Not going to really do much else for you, but he's a good power bat. Excuse me. Ryan Mountcastle for sure. They're EA all day, but also depends on who you're dropping if you're not dropping Vinny P. So, all right, what else y'all got? I'll be on here for a couple more minutes. Seems like we're getting the same couple guys asking questions. If you haven't done so, make sure you like and follow the Palazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow me on Twitter here at _MikeVA. I put out daily notes every single day. From the night before. So engage with me on there. Always like answering questions. Hit me up on my DMs. Whatever it may be. Happy to help. Palazzo Podcast. This guy's a genius. Are you talking about me? I assume that's Govier. What's up, brother? All right. Mike, do you prefer Gorman or India rest of season 5x5 cat league? Is it average or OPS, Mike? Either way, I still probably like Gorman, even though that he's probably going to be sitting against some lefties there. I like Jonathan India too. I know a lot of people don't like him. I liked him a little bit going into the season. I don't have any share. Actually, I have one share of him. Yeah, give me Gorman. See, Rizzo is my last bench hitter. Justin Turner was dropped and has first base, second base, and third base. Make the move. I would personally. I don't know if you guys saw the Yankees Twitter the other day. They called Anthony Rizzo shot a Tony Tater, which is an O's thing for Anthony Santander. So stop stealing our shit, New York. Yeah, I would drop Rizzo for Justin Turner. That's just me. Mike D says average. Okay, yeah. That makes it a little bit more tough. It depends on what you need. If you need power, I'd probably go Gorman. If you don't need the power and you need kind of the safer floor with India in terms of the runs and stolen bases and the average, I'd probably go India there. Do you like the dimples on that headboard? No, this is actually my wife's old. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm in a spare bedroom here in my house. This is actually my wife's old stuff before we moved in together. So no, this is not my master bedroom. This is just something I can do to get some peace and quiet and have my desk set up in here. So no, I don't like. I guess I don't. Oh, I'm not in here enough to have an opinion either way. But thanks for the question, Sound Money. I'm trying to figure out if they're just decorative. Yeah, they're decorative, but ask my wife. I'm the last guy to be asking in terms of fashion or home decor. Michael Garcia or Nathaniel Lowe once healthy. Give me Michael Garcia. I wish I had more shares in him. He's gonna be rock solid. Gonna be giving you runs, stolen bases, power, a little bit of power, not crazy, but I like Michael Garcia a lot this year. Nathaniel Lowe is obviously great playing in that lineup, but depends on what the position need is as well. If you need the third base aspect of it from Michael Garcia or first base with Nathaniel Lowe, hopefully that'll play a factor into your decision there. So, oh my God. All right. Jerf Boy 22, what's up, man? Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't think I've ever seen you in here before, but welcome. Do I drop Will Benson for Lars Nootbaar, 12-team roto? It's a tough one. I like Benson there probably. Just like the power and speed combo that you're getting from him in his spot in the lineup in that Cincinnati ballpark too. So Nootbaar is great for OBP leagues. So he'll probably be hitting at the top of that lineup, but still like Will Benson there just because I like the power better. My friend Dave Funnel, love your tweets, man. With all the injury updates and things like that, I pay attention to him regularly. You're like the first guy on the ball there. So really appreciate your work there, Dave. Appreciate you joining the show, man. Are you starting Gore today versus Philadelphia, points league where efficiency matters most and home runs allowed are punished? Oof. Then the answer is probably no. Mackenzie Gore is so hard to figure out. He was one of my favorite pitching prospects coming up when he was with San Diego. And the Padres, I felt like never brought him up and just never would give him a chance. Hence why they dealt him. But you know what's going to happen here, Dave? I'm going to tell you not to start him, and he's going to go out and shove it up their ass and get 12 Ks. That's what Mackenzie Gore does. But no, I'm probably not starting him in that matchup against Philly. But it's tough. That's a tough one. Classic Bob question. Which one was Bob's question? I didn't see it. Is he Sound Money with the headboard better than my setup? Okay. All right. Marley 13. What's up, man? Houck or Singer long term? That's a great question. If Michael Govier is still on the books here, he would probably say Singer. Yep. You know what? I'm going to go Singer there as well. I like Houck too. But we've seen flashes of Singer before, dating back to last year. And I think this year may be his year. So I'm going Singer, but it's close for me. Govier says I met Durf Boy last week. He's a good shit. Oh, okay, cool. Sports Nut is back. Official Rick Ross. What's up, man? If you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to the Palazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you're following the whole crew on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. He asks, in a 10-man points league, is it worth dropping Wyatt Langford, Jackson Chourio for recently dropped Willie Adames? The answer is no. I don't even need to read the rest of those. Wyatt Langford and Jackson Chourio are generational prospects. In 10-man leagues, too, I know it's difficult. I know a lot of people are getting frustrated with the production. Jackson Chourio just hit a 2-run bomb yesterday, hitting out of the 9 spot. Was hitting out of the 1 spot. Didn't do too well. They pushed him back down to 9, so who knows? But I'm not dropping Jackson Chourio or Wyatt Langford right now, especially a week into the season. But I do think that Willie Adames and Nolan Jones are interesting ads. I'd be interested to know who else is on your bench, though, Rick Ross. Mike D says, thoughts on Alex Kirilloff? A lot of people like Alex Kirilloff. I've never been a fan. That's the short and sweet of it. I'm not looking to add him in but the deepest of leagues. That's just me. He's got great power, but guy can't stay healthy either. Mike, thanks for being active on X and now here answer our questions. Yeah, no problem, man. Absolutely happy to help. We do shows. For those of you guys who don't know who are new here, we do shows every Friday. We have a prospect show during the week as well. go back and check out all of our videos that we've done on YouTube. Really, really good content. We try not to be as boring either. Like, I'm not saying all the other podcasts are, but we try to bring a little entertainment value to this show as well. So apologies that I'm not jumping up and down. Again, a little bit of a stomach bug today. It's actually been hell on earth, if you guys can catch my drift here. So a lot of fluids for your boy, Mike Virginia, today. Thanks for the info and subscribe. Thank you, Durf Boy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Govier says, I say both. I think he was referring back to the Halkin Singer question. And yeah, if you are able to add both, I would add both. But if I had to pick one, I would probably go Brady Singer. Appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, you're a rising star in the fantasy world. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that, man. That means so much to me, and I really, really appreciate your engagement, being here, and obviously following the Palazzo podcast and engaging with us there. Singer is back, but Hauk is about to break out this year. I don't disagree with that, Gove. I don't disagree with that at all. Rick Ross, what's the read on Nimmo? I started paying attention to baseball last year, and him being the 74th overall player in my league seems strange to me considering his stats from last year. He's just a rock solid guy, man. Average runs, hitting at the top of a good lineup. Kind of does it all. It's kind of a very rock solid floor, if you will, across the board there. So I know a lot of people are getting out on him because the Mets haven't been very good, but he's a strong hold for me as well. Dave says, thanks for the kind words and the advice. No problem, man. I really, like I said, I really appreciate your content, man. I actually found out about the Shane Bieber news and the Yuri Perez news from your feed. So if you guys aren't doing so already, make sure you give my boy here, Dave Funnel, a follow on Twitter /X. Guy puts out great stuff. So Mike D, Jordan Walker worth holding on to, can add a guy like Taylor Ward. Man, that's another great question. I love Jordan Walker, man. I really do. Just hasn't really shown it. I wouldn't. I think they're very similar players at this point right now. I obviously think Jordan Walker has a higher ceiling just in terms of his prospect status. I wouldn't hate the move, man. I think if Taylor Ward can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a solid outfield bat for you this year. And I actually think he outproduces Jordan Walker. Give me Taylor Ward. I just talked myself into it. Taylor Ward over Jordan Walker. Sorry you have the stomach bug. Yeah, it sucks, man. I don't know what happened. Saturday was awful. Today I'm a little bit better, but still can't seem to keep anything down. So I should have worn a mask during Bozo Fest. Yeah, exactly. For those of you guys who don't know, Bozo Fest is a opening day show. The day before opening day, we have a bunch of guests on here. We talk fantasy baseball. It's fun. Make sure you guys check us out next year if you haven't done that. Is there something wrong with? I believe you're talking about the Chicago White Sox. The Chicago White Sox and Minnesota Twins medical staff. Every year their hitters get hurt. No, I don't know if it's their medical staff. I think they're just guys like Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, Byron Buxton, and Royce Lewis. These guys just get hurt. It sucks, man, because these guys are such great athletes and just can't seem to stay healthy. Sometimes a change of scenery is good, though. So maybe they move on from those guys. I don't know. But I don't think it's their medical staff. Might be their training staff in terms of like their strength and conditioning coaches that need to get looked at. Need to focus more on injury prevention. For those of you guys who don't know, I work as a health and fitness specialist. I cannot tell you where, but I work as a health and fitness specialist, and I help folks with pre and post op surgeries in terms of helping them get back on their feet, in terms of getting back in the gym, helping people with weight loss, strength training programs, all the whole 9 yards. So by no means am I a professional strength and conditioning coach, but at the same time too, I would think that White Sox and the Twins probably need to take a second look at their strength and conditioning staff. EA all day. Nimmo in an OBP plate discipline league is much more valuable as well. Agreed. Rick Ross, another question here. Is Paul Skeens worth rostering in a 10-man? Awesome show, by the way. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. That's awesome. I'd love to hear the feedback. We always love hearing that. If you haven't done so, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We would greatly appreciate it. For anybody listening, not just my boy official Rick Ross here, anybody listening, it literally takes 2 seconds. I'll be your best friend. I'll answer all the damn questions that you want. Please just leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want, leave us a nice comment on there too. That always helps. He says, is Paul Skeens worth rostering in a 10-man league? I'm glaring at Carlos Rodon at the bottom of my pitching room, ready to just get someone else on my roster. I don't know when we see Paul Skeens, honestly, Rick Ross, in a 10-man league, unless you have an NA spot, meaning you can, it's like a DL spot, but you can put a minor leaguer in that slot there. I don't think he's worth rostering yet. Definitely keep a close eye on him. If you pick him up now, especially for a guy like Carlos Rodon who can give you some production currently, because the Yankees are a good team, going to have solid run production. Maybe he's not the Carlos Rodon that we saw with the White Sox or the Giant days, but still a rock solid starting pitcher. But I don't expect Paul Skeens to be up at least until May, June, if not later than that. So who the hell knows? That's just a guess, by the way. But yeah, I would be keeping a close eye on Paul Skeens when he comes up. What to do with CES Drury? Drury's a cut for me. I don't really understand. I don't really understand the hype with him. I think he had obviously that great year in Cincinnati. I think people are still holding on to that. You can cut Drury. CES is a strong hold for me. A little over a week into the season, and I'm not just saying that because he was one of my pre-draft targets, if you will. I actually wrote about him on the Palazzo Podcast Patreon, which is only $3 a month. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you check that out too. I'm still holding Christian Encarnacion Strand. For those of you guys who don't know who CES is, he'll figure it out. I have no doubt about it. But Drury's a cut for me. Perdomo out with knee injury. Blaze Alexander worth a look in 12-team leagues over guys like Crawford or Arcia. That's a good question. I still probably prefer Crawford and Arcia, but I would be keeping a strong eye on Blaze Alexander. I believe he hit towards the bottom of the lineup last night, which is a brutal loss for them too, because they torched Max Fried and then they ended up losing that game 9-8. Bad loss for Arizona in the bullpen there. No, but I'm probably still holding JP Crawford and Orlando Arcia. I wouldn't mind if you wanted to pivot and go Blaze or cut Arcia for Blaze, but I'd probably rank them Crawford, Arcia, and then Blaze number 1, 2, 3. Folks, you are doing God's work here, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. I don't know if it's God's work, but it certainly is fun. I love doing it. Happy to help out. Keep the questions coming, guys. That's what I'm here for. I love doing this stuff. This is awesome. What else you guys got for me? Next question here. Should I continue to hold Junior Caminero? Yeah, the Candyman. Got to. Junior Caminero. Sorry. I thought you were talking about the kid from Cincinnati. Good question. He is on the IL in the minor leagues right now with I believe it was a hamstring. Tampa is usually pretty careful with their prospects as well in terms of when they call them up. So Wander Franco was a prime example of that, called him up super late in the season. So Junior Caminero, for me, it depends on how deep your league is, honestly. If you play in a really, really deep league, I would continue to stash him. If you play in a league that's an NA spot, I would definitely continue to stash him there. But if you play in a 12-team or less, I'm fine with cutting him. I don't know when we're going to see him, but he's got to have to recover from that hamstring injury first and foremost. And he has very limited action in AAA, so the Rays will be careful with him. I don't think we see him until June or July, but I hope I'm wrong. I got you a 5-star on Spotify. Dude, folks, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. That means a lot. Thank you. If you have Apple Podcasts as well, leave us a 5-star on that one too. Greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Official Rick Ross. Nestor Cortez versus Miami / at Cleveland, or Reese Olson for sure. I like the matchups there with Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Nestor Cortez for me, I know he had that one good year, but I'm not necessarily a fan. So I like Reese Olson a lot this year. Wish I had more shares of him. So give me Reese Olson for sure. Mike D, thoughts on Luis Garcia on the Nats? Only 23 years old and hitting the ball well right now. I like him in deeper formats. I know he was one of the better prospects for the Nationals in recent years. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a solid bat. I don't think he's a difference maker, if that's what you're asking, Mike. In the deepest of leagues, he's a solid target, but it also depends on who you're going to be dropping to acquire him. So, Fantasy Sports says, I can vouch for Mike being very active on X, always answers the question. In fact, go in depth and ask follow-up questions as well. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. That means a lot. And again, I can't say it enough. I appreciate all the love on here, guys. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And I know all the guys on the Palazzo Podcast YouTube would also appreciate a follow. Also put out great work. Make sure you guys are checking out our shows on Fridays, Sundays, and really any other show that we got coming up. But really appreciate the love, the reviews, the subscribes on YouTube, whatever it may be. Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much. Folks, you still like Tristan McKenzie? Postponed today, but his velocity is way down. His slider looks flat. Yes, I do. It's the beginning of the year, guys. I can't stress this enough, especially with pitchers, hitters, no matter who it is. I don't care if they're somebody who's been in the league forever, somebody who's second-year player, rookie, whatever it may be. We're only a little over a week into the season, and it's going to take some guys to quote-unquote ramp up. If you guys remember, especially with starting pitchers in spring training, they don't let them go full 6-7 innings, right? So it's going to take them a while to get acclimated to the regular season, especially with Shane Bieber going down now too. His spot in the rotation is definitely locked up. His velocity will return, I believe, unless he's got an injury that he's just not telling anybody about. But it'll take some time for him to ramp back up into in-season form. That's with both hitters and with pitchers. All right, they just take a little bit longer than some. And some guys are really quick to adjust. Some guys are kind of middle of the pack, and some guys are slumping out of the gate, and that can change year to year. So look at Rafi Devers. I know we just had recently a shoulder injury, but somebody asked me a question the other day, would I be looking to move him? No, I'd be looking to acquire him. Noting that if the shoulder is fine and he doesn't have any structural damage, I'd be looking to acquire Rafael Devers. So the thing too that I would want to chat about real quick is start floating some trade offers out to some of your league mates for those guys who are starting slow. Francisco Lindor, Rafi Devers, some guys, I can't remember who the other guys I was looking to target in my trades last night in my home league. But some guys may be a little bit impatient, right? And maybe looking to move on from these guys. So I'm not saying go low ball them and be insulting because they are still top 50 picks, but go buy low on some of these guys. See if you can work a trade. This is the prime time of the year to do it. So Marley, is Turang legit? I think the stolen bases are nice. And obviously stolen bases, I feel like everybody's stealing them these days. I wouldn't necessarily call him legit. I think if you need stolen bases, great. I think he's a solid contact guy. You can get on base. Depends on what type of league you're in terms of the format and also how many guys are in there. But I don't have any shares of Bryce Turang, Marley. And I probably won't if that helps you anyway. So, folks, UCL damage last year, didn't have surgery. Yeah, that's true. Good, solid point. I don't know if that is playing a factor into it. Obviously, he elected not to have surgery. Maybe that's from the guidance of his doctors, or I have no idea. But yeah, I still like Tristan McKenzie there. I'm not looking to dump him yet. Buy low on Reid, 100%, especially after last night. He had a terrible game. I believe he gave up 6 earned runs in the first 2 or 3 innings, if I'm not mistaken. So, but that's a prime example. Buy low on him. He will figure it out. Arizona's a good team as well. So can't blame him for getting shelled. But Max Fried is one of the most rock solid pitchers we've seen in a long time. So certainly wouldn't be looking to overpay for him. But if you can work out a trade and similar costs, I think you could, I think he's a very solid buy low target, especially of the starting pitching group. When do you think Jackson Holliday gets the call? Durf boy. I kind of bitched and complained on this podcast when he was sent down because I didn't really expect him to be in the minors to start the year. He's been tearing up the minors at AAA. I personally think that it's a service time manipulation. I don't care what anybody says. I'm holding true to that. I'll die on that hill. He's ready. He was ready in spring training. I don't care what the whole thing about hitting lefties and, he needs more work at second base. It's all fluff. It's all bullshit from Mike Elias. I think he'll be up in May. Honestly, I think they'll probably give him one more month. I would not be surprised if we saw him in April, but I think his realistic time frame is May. But if the Yankees keep pulling away and keep playing well, they're going to have to make a decision here sooner rather than later. I for the life of me, and this is why I think it's bullshit, you cannot sit here and tell me that Jorge Mateo, who has had a rough start this season, Ramon Urias are better than Jackson Holliday right now. Let the kid play. And that's why I think it's service time manipulation aspects of it. So Jackson Holiday for me is one, if not the best prospect maybe in baseball, maybe only behind Wyatt Langford. But I can certainly make a case for him being number one. But I think we see him in May at some point. There, Durf Boy. Somebody asked me this the other day, actually right before I got on the show. One of my buddies asked me, should I be rostering Heston Kjerstad? And the answer to that is, if you don't have NA spots, no, because I don't know when we see him either. I think Heston Kjerstad's this year's CES. Last year we talked about CES, and he just could never get called up. Why is he still down in the minors? Just not a spot for him to play. That's why. But if he keeps hitting that way and he keeps having 7-10 RBI performances, they're going to have to find a spot for him in the lineup. So Austin Hayes' days may be numbered. But yeah, Durf Boy, I think we see Jackson Holiday in May. Ryan Jackson, any concerns with Skubal? His velo was down the last couple innings, has me nervous. No concerns whatsoever. Again, this is what happens, guys. We just got finished talking about it, Ryan. I don't know when you jumped into the pod here, or into the show. But it's going to take some time for guys to build up for the regular season. And most people would argue, well, isn't that what spring training is for? Yes and no. These guys don't go in spring training giving it 100%, right? It's more location, working on things. It's basically just exhibition games for them, trying to locate, work on pitches, tinker with some things, whatever it may be. For in-game regular season haul, all these guys are going to be sore. All these guys are going to be battling some dings from here and there. And Skubal's no different. He's just going to take some time to build up. So his velocity for me, especially this early on in the season, is irrelevant. And if we're talking a couple miles per hour, that's a very unpopular opinion. Most people say, "Oh, Mike, what are you talking about?" Like I just got finished saying, it's going to take some time for these guys to build up throughout the year. So they're not used to throwing 6, 7, 8 inning games. Okay, so it's going to take some time to consistently find that velocity, healing, recovering, whatever you want to call it. I'm not concerned with Tarik Skubal unless he has an injury that he's not telling us about. So let's see. With all arm injuries, I think I'm just scared. Yeah, I have no issues with that, Ryan. Especially with everything, all these pitchers that are going down. I could see why you're scared, but don't be. Sound money. A couple miles an hour may not be the difference for one pitch. Yeah, exactly. But over the course of an hour, you're talking about the difference of a couple of miles. Yeah, exactly. I'm not worried about that. If his fastball is going for consistently sitting 96 to between 96 and 98 miles per hour, and is now sitting in the upper 80s or low 90s, then yeah, I might be concerned. But if his velo is still 93, 94 as the game progresses, most people would look at that and say it's a red flag. It's really hard to throw that hard, that consistently for that long, and just not be gassed, quote unquote, right? That used to be a thing in the majors, right? Like maybe he just ran out of gas. That's what I'm talking about in terms of just the endurance of a starting pitcher in games. So it'll take some time to build up to that. So appreciate the engagement on here, guys. I got about 8 more minutes. If you guys have questions, I started a little bit early, but I'm happy to go here until 1. If you have any more questions for me, drop them in the live chat here. Happy to help. Got games starting up here soon, so I'm going to be watching baseball all day and hopefully recovering. Plenty of Gatorade today. As you can see here, before anyone gets on my ass about it having too much sugar, this is the Gatorade Zero. Okay, so it doesn't have any sugar in it. All right, 0 grams, only 5 calories. It's good stuff. Make sure you guys get some. All right, fantasy sports. Is Kyle Harrison a must-add in 10-team league? How would you rank them? Harrison, Houck, Jared Jones. I would go Houck, Jared Jones, Harrison. I never really understood the hype with Kyle Harrison, so that's just me. Probably going to get a lot of shit for that. I don't care. Give me Houck, Jared Jones, and Harrison. I never really understood the hype. So, Ryan Jackson, thanks, man. Subscribing. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you, man. Really, really appreciate that. Like I said, this helps us out more than you know is by hitting that quick little subscribe button. Like I said, we don't do this for money. We're not paid by any sponsorships or anything else like that. We generally really, really want to help people. So any love you can show in terms of the 5 stars on Apple or Spotify or subscribe or following us on Twitter /X or all of that shit, we appreciate it. If you guys also don't know, We have a Discord as well. Plenty of great minds in there, not just me and Govier and Britton Allen and Robbie and Sam and Ben. There are plenty of other people as well that are in the Discord who are also really, really good at answering questions and offering advice. It's a really good community. Highly encourage you guys to jump in there as well. If you guys go over to our Palazzo Podcast Twitter handle, you'll see the Discord link in there. Make sure you guys get in there and start engaging. Let's see here. Sound money. When you're sick, you could use the sugar. Electrolytes more so than anything for me, which you alluded to. One of the vaunted electrolytes. Yeah, sugar. Like purple Gatorade Zero. Yeah, purple Gatorade always tastes like grape cough medicine to me. I just can never get over it. But if it's ice cold, I will drink it. Durf Boy, should I create a trade package with Crochet to go after Reid? 100%. I love Garrett Crochet. I'd be looking to trade him if you guys have him in your leagues. I don't know how many innings we see from Garrett Crochet. Ride this wave while it's hot. He is one of the better pitching prospects with Chicago. Chicago is obviously not a very good team. He's going to have a lot more rougher starts coming up, and they'll probably end up capping his innings because the Chicago White Sox are not going anywhere. So if you can sell high on him now and get a guy like Max Fried, 100% would be looking to do that. Mason Miller, Mike D. Mason Miller was dropped in my 10-team 5x5 league. Worth a pickup. Would have to drop someone like Ward, Gorman, or Buxton. I have Duvall, Munoz, and Evan Phillips as my closers. I like Mason Miller. I really do. I'm probably the highest out of him out of our crew, at least, I would venture to say. I just like him because he's an SP, and he's going to be a guy who can give you multi-innings as a closer and pick up the occasional save. Yesterday, he would have gotten the save if the A's didn't score one in the eighth. But he pitched 2 innings, had 3 Ks, 1 walk. Guy has really, really good stuff. I don't think he'll move into the starting rotation. I never understood why people thought he would at some point. It's not happening. Given your current state of closers and the guys that you'd be looking to drop for him, I would say no. But it also depends on how many closers everybody else has and who you're facing. I don't think Mason Miller is going to be a guy who's going to be saving a lot of games to begin with anyways, just because the A's are not going to be positioned to win many games. But I still like Ward, Gorman, and Buxton. But in a shallow format like that in 10 teams, I don't like having a deep bench with hitters. I like loading up on pitchers. That's just how my strategy is in shallower formats there, Mike. All right. We got about 4 more minutes here, guys. Hit me with questions. What you guys got? Who are you looking to pick up in your waiver wires? Who's out there for you guys? What are some trades you guys are looking to work on? Whatever. Hit me up. What do you guys got? If not, I'll hop off here and give me an extra 4 minutes. If you guys aren't already doing so, check out my notes on Twitter. #MikeVANotes. I release them every day, Monday through Friday. I take off on the weekends. And it basically just recaps the games from the previous night/day. And offer some insights in terms of stats, advanced analytics, whatever it may be, roster percentages. Tomorrow's actually the best day of the week to look at these notes because I go over the best hitter matchups in terms of hitters, and then the worst hitter matchups, and then I go over the schedule for the week, how many games each team is playing, whatever it may be, and obviously it's a great spot to ask your questions in there as well. So. How long until Yates is closing for Texas and Slayton for Boston? I actually think David Robinson's probably going to get the first crack at the closing job there in Texas. Leclerc, it's funny. Govier and I were talking about it because when David Robinson got signed, everyone was like, "No, my Jose Leclerc shares. This sucks. This is awful." I hate Jose Leclerc. I never understood why people like him so much. He was going to lose his job. It was inevitable. So I think David Robertson probably gets the first crack at that. But so if Robertson falters, then I would say Yates is probably next in line. Slayton for Boston. I had not heard anything in terms of Kenley Jansen recently. So maybe you can update me on that one, Mike. Thoughts on Zach Littell, Durf Boy. We talked about him earlier on in the show. I don't know when he popped in here, but I like him. He's a solid back end of your rotation kind of guy. I liked him. I was actually calling for everybody to draft him after pick 300. He was a steal. He was a guy I was really, really high on. I'm not victory lapping. It's only a couple games into the season. But I like what the Rays do with pitchers, and I like that he could probably help out your ratios in terms of whip and in ERA. Not a big high strikeout guy, though. Not saying that he won't have some decent strikeout performances, but not known for that. But I think he's a rock solid SP that you can definitely put towards the end of your rotation in your league. Is Bryce Miller legit, or should I be looking to sell high? Man, he looked good last night. Yes, he did. I hate answering this question this way, Ryan, but I always say it anyways. It really depends on who you're going to be looking to target him. I think this would probably be the time to sell high on him right now, based off of the start yesterday, and hopefully somebody, a manager in your league, will look at that and say, "Oh shit, I like that. Give me him." But it also depends on who you're targeting as well. So I'm not looking to trade him just to trade him. I would obviously need to address a positional or categorical need with trading Bryce Miller, but then also at the same time too, what does my rotation look like if I were to deal him? So just some questions to think about before making that trade. Rumors Boston will trade Jansen at the deadline plus his back troubles. Yeah, until that happens though, Mike, I'm not looking to add a guy like that. I think as long as he's healthy and he's not on the IL, he's going to be the closer in Boston. So, but when they trade him, then yes, I would definitely be looking to get Slayton for sure. Months behind. What's up, man? Do you think Tyler Scott's job is safe, or look at Nardi or Bender for a replacement? That's a really good question. I'm so glad you brought that up, because if you guys follow me on Twitter, you will know that I said that AJ Puck would be the team lead and lead the team in saves, and I still think that is a possibility. With how bad AJ Puck has been in the rotation since the start of the year, it's only been 2 starts, and last start that he had wasn't necessarily terrible. Definitely not as bad as the first start. I do think that they will probably move AJ Puck back to the bullpen once they get some of these guys healthy. Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, those guys are coming back. And I think he's seriously best suited for the bullpen. I think he's seriously best suited as their closer if he can get the walks under control. So to Tyler Scott, to your question here, months behind, Tyler Scott's job right now is currently safe. But if you play in a deeper league and you're speculating on saves, I would be looking to get Bender as the next guy up. But I do think AJ Puck at some point will claim that role. Mark my words. We'll come back to this podcast and we'll say, hey, Mike VA called that. Hope that answers your question there, months behind. Appreciate you being here, brother. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't think I've ever seen you in here before, but welcome. All right. It is now a little after 1. I'm going to go last call on questions, rapid fire really quick. I'm going to go 2 more minutes, rapid fire in the live chat. If you have questions after that, I'm bumping out of here, guys. Nobody? Going once. Going twice. Sold. Mike VA is going to be sitting his ass on the couch all day today. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out. We got Mike D. Mike D. Sell high on Tyler O'Neill. No, look to get him. I like him this year. Sound money. Feel better. Folks, feel better. Thank you guys. I appreciate you very, very much. Hope I feel better tomorrow. I got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm hoping I feel better. Real quick, before I get out of here, I know I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to say it 1,001 more. One more time. Like and subscribe to the Palazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you're following me at _ Mike VA right here in this yellow bubble. That is my Twitter handle. Make sure you're following me. Tell your friends. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. Make sure you follow the whole crew. Check us out every Friday. It'll be myself, Michael Govier, and Britton Allen. We do shows, talk about all things fantasy baseball. It's cool as hell. Really, really appreciate all the love that you guys have shown me in the live chat on Twitter. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you. Make sure you check out Mike VA notes tomorrow morning. Usually they're ass early in the morning. So if you're an early riser, sip your coffee, read my notes. It'll go over a lot of good things in terms of the schedule this week, hitter notes, pitcher notes, whole 9 yards. So check me out. Appreciate you guys jumping on today. I'll be back next Sunday. I'll beef up this show a little bit more in terms of some content and some stuff that I want to provide you guys to help you out for your leagues and especially for your waiver wires. Make sure you guys put your claims in. Make sure you guys check the weather reports today. It looks like Minnesota and Cleveland was postponed. The Yankees and the Blue Jays were postponed. So make sure you get your lineup set if you're playing daily leagues. All right. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate you. And we will see you guys next week. All right. Peace.